The real way to lead with the right arm, where you're getting that elbow moving in front of the body in transition, you have to do these three things. And if you don't do these, you're never going to lead with that right arm in the downswing. And let's get straight into what these three things are. And I'm going to tell you, not one drill, not two drill, not three, 4 drills at the end of the video, which is what I'll give anyone as, let's say, a routine or even just my best drills out there to get that right arm moving how we want to. So stick around for that. So number 1, this is where your right arm is at setup. So a lot of golfers who really struggle to get that right arm moving in front, that elbow moving nicely, maybe they're having their elbow moving behind, stems from their setup. They'll be setting up to the golf ball with their elbow pointing inwards. So they're inside of the elbow, pointing inwards, almost pointing down the target line. So that very internally rotated shoulder position. You can only move your arm then, and your elbow behind you as you move back in that backswing. You would have to have a ton of arm rotation to be able to fold that arm, which would open up the club face. But we generally see players just have that elbow stay behind, and then from there in the downswing, their elbow is now still behind. They can't lead with that right arm. So you need to have your arm a little bit more turned in, so you can see underside of the elbow is pointing more in front of me, really more towards the left. So in front, a little bit towards the left, not down the target. So this is then putting the right shoulder into some external rotation. So then from there, the right arm can easily now fold and stay in front of the seam line. And because you're in this more externally rotated shoulder position, becomes biomechanically so much easier to have that right elbow start to lead and go a little bit more in front. So have that right arm turned in. We are having that elbow pointing slightly behind, not all, slightly in front there, sorry. And then what you do, grip it from there. Don't just turn it in and leave your right hand grip incredibly strong. You can still grip it from there. So guys, if you want to pick up one of my courses, now is the time, because I've got them all on sale. So this is for a limited time only, so make sure you act fast. So whether it's the ultimate guide to rotation, complete shallowing guide, or ultimate guide to fixing your over the top, all on sale now. So there is a link down description. Act fast, because it won't be on sale forever. So incredibly important, which leads to number 2, which is folding properly. So like we're saying, this encourages that setup to fold the right arm correctly. So what I will see golfers do, even if sometimes they are in this good right arm position at setup, they'll just start to pull the right arm back like they're starting a lawnmower. So moving that back is just going to get that elbow going behind the seam line, and it's going to get that right shoulder again into that internally rotated position, and that's just going to cause, again, elbow to get stuck behind you. We want a fold up of that right arm. So where we're folding this up nicely, and then you can see how the elbow is now pointing more down towards the ground. And then you can see there, a little bit more that external shoulder rotation. Again, naturally becomes easier to then get that right arm in front, and it stays in front of the seam line. An easy way to feel this and to get this is with a little gym analogy. So imagine you're at the gym. You want to get bigger arms, so you're doing bicep curls. What does a bicep curl look like? You're curling it all the way up as a bicep curl. If you did that in the golf swing, you would have no width at the top if you did a full bicep curl with your right arm. So we would want to do a bicep curl, but half a repetition of a bicep curl to there. So if the weight's way too heavy for you, and then you can only get to here, that's about what you would want to do in the golf swing with your right arm, half a bicep curl. So half a bicep curl with that right arm getting up to top, boom. We're in this great spot now. We folded up that right arm nicely. It's still nicely in front of the seam line, externally rotated shoulder. You're gonna see great width as well. Now it's easy just to have that right elbow drive in front. So you can see setup and how you move it in the backswing is so incredibly important. Leads to number 3. And this is the real big thing nobody ever talks about when it comes to leading with the right arm. And that is, you have to move properly in your pivot. So a lot of golfers think now, okay, what do? You drive it in. Yes, you can do that, but you can actually do it naturally, which will be way better for you in terms of meeting the golf ball properly with good compression, good staying in your posture. This right arm can do this naturally. So if you get up to the top of the swing, you're in all these good spots, what we just talked about. Now, if you get the left hip going back, leaving the upper body where it is, So left hip going back, the upper body will start to go into more flexion. If the left hip pushes back, the upper body is going to go down. So if your right arm is already nicely in front of seam line, it's in this nice external shoulder rotation position here. And then, as soon as I get that left hip going back, upper body goes down, right arm starts to lead. Gets the right arm in front of you automatically. So that's why you don't necessarily need to try to do anything with that right arm unless you've got big problems with it. If you move properly with your pivot, left hip going back, upper body will flex down, right arm will naturally move in front. That's the real way to lead with that right arm. So if you can marry those together and just continue to move through the golf ball, boom. That is the way to lead with the right arm. So, like I said, I've got a bunch of drills for you. Let's get into it. So these 4 drills all incorporate exactly what we've talked about with the 3 key points here. So drill 1 is ultimately one of my big time favorites of this, and this is the right arm only swings. So where you just grip the club with your right arm, but with your left hand here, you want to cup your right elbow. So what this does, of course, you need to be in that good right arm position that we've just learned about at setup. And then as we start to go up, you can see how this left arm is stopping me from going too far back. It's stopping me from going behind my seam line, which causes me to get trapped. So if I can keep this there and just swing back, swing through with kind of like a half swing to 3/4 here. And there we go. Then we've got a very, very good repetition of a right arm movement. Very good drill, nice one to do into a net. Could be a bit boring, absolutely hitting on the driving range, just nudging them down there. But very, very nice one to get that movement isolated. Isolation is a very good thing to be able to get a certain move into your golf swing if you understand the totality of it. Drill number 2, this is without a golf ball. This is called the Nunchuck drill. I give this to so many of my students on Skillist. Really, really big winner when it comes to, again, isolating right arm movement, but encouraging all the other good things to happen. So you grab the club head, just like so, flip it so that shaft is down the right side of your right forearm, and then grip the grip with your left hand. And then what we do, we rotate up to the top, and you can see how it's going to force that elbow to point more down, so you've got this more externally rotated shoulder. And then get the left hip to go back, where it flexes that upper body down, and you can see I'm pulling the grip in front of me. So this is forcing that shoulder to really go into some external rotation, so even a little bit more, but it forces that elbow in front and is leading with the right arm. So really, really good one. And for those of you who've got very inflexible shoulders like myself, it's a great stretch to do to get a little bit more range of motion here. Brilliant one. So drill number 3, ball training aid. Ball training aid is a very, very good one to train the movement because it stops that elbow from moving behind that all portions of the golf swing, which we know is a killer if you want to have good right arm mechanics. So ball training aid, like you see with my very, very old impact ball, definitely you can buy newer ones in this. Tour Striker Smart Ball, I think the Watson Structure Ball is another one, the new TRS ball, there's loads of them out in the market. To pick up any one of them you want, of course. All you do is you put this in your forearms and you just keep it in your forearms for the entirety of the swing. Normally you can only really swing half to 3/4 with this because it does restrict your arm length, but it's a great one to naturally get that right arm moving correctly there, because like we said, at any point, if that right arm and elbow moves behind, which is not leading, the ball drops. So absolutely brilliant one, really, really simple. This is what you'll see tons of tour players work with a bunch of different reasons why they might work on this. So this will hit more areas of your golf swing than just right arm mechanics, but absolutely brilliant. So drill number 4, chair drill. So you can see this works on that pivot movement. That works on getting your left hip back. So you can see in transition, I want to push this chair back with my left hip, forces the upper body to flex down. That forces you to lead with that right arm naturally. So very simple one. Again, this can work on rotation. This can fix your early extension. This can be a very, very good one by doing a lot of reps, but make sure your intent is really there. Really try and push it a ton. So make sure you're doing it nice and slowly to start off with. And of course, if you want to, you could pair this with doing the ball training aid at the same time if you want to do 2 drills, absolutely. But my recommendation with these drills is not just to do absolutely all of them, give them all a try, of course, but with the one that you find beneficial out of the nunchuck or the one arm. So, because of course the one arm one, you can do practice swing as well. They're just more kind of like lighter drills. Pair that with ball training aid or chair drill. So you've got 2 drills there, mostly they're dry drills, and then working with some ball drills. So work with pair the 2 you like the most, that you get the best results from, and then that's how you can create almost like a little routine. So this is the real way to lead with the right arm. If you enjoyed the video, click that like button. If you've got more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.